Hey everybody, welcome back. This is my first SkiErg video on our channel, and I'm just going to leave the session up there. This was a session of the week that was posted on Instagram just at the end of December, just this past weekend. And just finally getting around to talking about it. This is part of our 5K prep cycle. We are prepping for the Concept 2 Tour de SkiErg competition, which is a virtual competition starting in February, the very first week of February. If you are unfamiliar with the Tour de SkiErg, I would suggest going to the Concept 2 website. I'll post a link in the session description below to what it is. It's 4 weeks. It's an event every week. It's really become sort of bragging rights amongst SkiErg enthusiasts. The first week is a 5,000 meter, and that's why we start prepping for it. And it's a nice cycle leading into the other events. So week 2 is that's my wife. Week 2 is 500 meter. Week 3 is a 2,000 meter, and then the fourth week is a 10K. And it's scored by taking the average pace of each event and then averaging those out. So it's the average of the averages. Because of that, it favors larger, heavier competitors who have very strong sprints. Because you can do a lot of damage with a fast 500 meter pace in terms of an overall average score for the whole Tour de SkiErg competition. Anyways, 5K cycle. The 2500s we're doing today. These were focused more on holding the rates, so 44 to 48 strokes a minute. If you're unfamiliar with the SkiErg, the rates are higher than on a rowing machine. Low rate on a rowing machine is usually 18 to 22 strokes a minute, where low rate on the SkiErg is usually around, let's say, 40 to 42 strokes a minute. So it's a big difference. This being week 3 from our 5K cycle, we've had sessions similar to this in the previous 2 weeks. The first week we started in the low rates, so we were like 40 to 44 or so. Last week we were 42 to 46, and then this week our focus was 44 to 48. I am being summoned by my toddler. I need to go see what's going on. He was just hungry. He needed more snack. Let's chat technique a bit, shall we? If you're watching this, either you already know how I coach in terms of the movement. I've done my best to try and simulate, I guess I should say emulate, the basic patterns from the Nordic or cross-country ski community. If you look up double pulling technique online, you won't see big swooping butterfly arms. You won't see excessive reach above the head. You won't see squatting. What you'll see is a very fast turnover with short, sharp strokes and a very aggressive drive with the trunk and a strong bent arm. And for the most part, that's what we try and mimic here. The way I teach SkiErg technique, I'm not going to say it's the best way to use the SkiErg, because there are outliers in the world that have found a lot of success moving in a suboptimal way. They can get away with it. Not everyone can. So again, is this the best way to do it? I don't want to say yes. Is it the most efficient? Probably. Is it an optimal pattern? Probably. Are there other ways to use the machine? Sure. Are you going to be as successful as if you used a better technique? Probably not. Okay, let's break this down. Starting at the top of the stroke. My cue is forehead. I don't want to see people reaching too far above their head. I try and give them that cue of aim for handles at the forehead to start. You can't have straight arms and have your hands at your forehead, so already you're going to have to engage the arms in a bent position, which in cross-country skiing is ideal. So in the SkiErg, things don't change. With the hand starting at the forehead and a strong bent arm, we're going to have the most amount of leverage we can to initiate the drive. And leverage is important. You want to feel like you're getting on top of the handles as you drive down. Now, what initiates the drive? It's not your hands. It's the quick drop and crunch of your abs and trunk and head. If you start with your hands too high, when you drive down to initiate the stroke, you'll end up dragging the handles, and we don't want that. Again, we want to get on top of the handles as much as possible. A lot of people will think, well, in a pull-up, I want to have my elbows extended. Well, sure, in a pull-up. We're not doing pull-ups. What we're trying to do is spin the flywheel as fast and efficiently and effectively as possible. And you can't spin it as quickly. Like, if you're going to do pull-ups from a bent arm position, I guarantee you're going to do more. You're stronger at the top of the pull-up than you are at the bottom. So if we can start our stroke from a strong position, we're going to be able to generate a lot more force, put a lot more force into that flywheel per stroke. Okay, as the trunk drives down, the arms will whip through. Another cue, the second cue I use is crack the whip. If you think of how whip moves, it's proximal to distal, so think core to extremity, or think handle to end of whip. So as the trunk drives down, the handles follow. We don't want to treat this like a tricep extension. Arms will stay bent. Any extension of the arm is going to be just residual movement from the momentum of the stroke. There's no squatting here. This is a hinge at the hip. Legs aren't involved in the drive. Legs are involved in the recovery. And the more you squat, the deeper you get. If you're pulling to your ankles instead of to your pockets, you're spending energy standing up out of it, out of the bottom. And that's inefficient. That's not a good use of your time or your energy. If you have questions, feel free to comment below. I'll try and answer them. I'll do another ski video soon as well. And if there are any other technical tips that I can provide, I'll do so there. Again, thanks for watching.